By now, it is no secret that trading card games have always held a special place in my heart. In this series, Raikourider and myself will be opening 24 packs or one box of a core Yu-Gi-Oh set. We will continue to open a set in chronological order week after week. We will use these cards to construct a deck and then face off against each other in a best 2 out of 3 match. Each match will have 3 prizes up for grabs, with 2 prizes going to the winner and 1 going to the loser. These prizes can range from individual wildcards, to starter or structure decks, to sealed booster packs, or even event cards that were only handed out at select tournaments. However, we cannot rest on our laurels. Between the ever-evolving nature of the Forbidden and Limited list, the cards that we ourselves choose to remove from the game, and the way that the game itself changes throughout the years, all of our matches will increase in complexity and also remain fresh. This is yet another Yu-Gi-Oh! Progression. Okay, so last episode was kind of rough. And let me just say, if I ever hear the phrase tag out again, it will be too soon. So, but with that being said, we cleared out the Gladiator Beast deck. Hopefully, it does not come back to bite us again. But for now, we're going to go into the next set, which is the Shining Darkness. Unfortunately, because of how our sets worked out, we actually did not get to experience the true Edison format, which is slightly disappointing, but that's neither here nor there. But either way, let's get to it. So, Shining Darkness came out in May of 2010, and this set actually introduced not really a whole lot in terms of power, but more, it was a big support set, if you will. And what I mean by that is, this set introduced support for things like Blackwings, it produced support for Morphtronics, for Infernities, for the Watt archetype. Like, it actually had a fair amount of support for a number of different sets of monsters. But overall, it doesn't really have an overarching archetype to itself. At least not that I'm aware of. So let's go ahead and run through the commons right now that are actually going to matter for us. Blackwing Ghibli the Searing Wind is actually a decent card. If your opponent declares a direct attack, you can special summon this from your hand, and then once per turn you can switch this monster's original attack and defense until the end of the turn. That effect realistically does not mean anything because, let's be honest, 1600 defense, chances are, unless Rai is running into me directly with something really weak like a Sangin, this thing is basically here to just eat a hit and die. So, yeah, that's kind of whatever. Looking through the rest of here, the first row, not really anything special. Spore is a notable card. This is a card that has the effect that you could banish another plant from your grave to special summon this card, and increase its level by the level of the monster that you banished. However, you can only activate Spore once per duel. And in fact, this is a hard once per duel, so unfortunately, even if we pull multiple copies of this card, we can only use the effect once. Now that being said, that doesn't mean we can't use the other copies of Spore as a typical tuner. So, it still would be nice to hit a couple of these just for, at least for right now. Scrolling down a little more, we see the big bad of the set, and probably the card that I am gunning for the most here, RoninToadin. For those of you who don't know, this is one of the most notorious cards in the Frog deck. It has the effect that it can't be used as Synchro Material. Gage, make sure you read that line. It has the effect that it becomes Death's Frog while it's on the field, and if this card is in your graveyard, you could banish a frog from your graveyard and special summon this card. This card is not once per turn. This card does not have any restrictions. Unless your opponent is going to specifically crow this thing out of your graveyard, then you could just keep bringing this back over and over. And we are really hoping to see 3 of these today. Scrolling down a little more, we see a little bit of support for Blackwings in Blackwing Strafe. This card lets you send a Blackwing from your hand to the grave to send to the graveyard a defense monster your opponent controls. Not destroy, Send. That allows it to actually bypass a lot of removal, or a lot of protection rather, and that's something we'll have to keep in mind, especially because with the Blackwings still being somewhat strong and Gladiator Beasts basically being dead, being killed off now, I feel like Ryan might be running into a Blackwing deck now. Scrolling a little more down, we see some Infernity support, and then we see a couple of Morphtronic cards. Oh, and okay, so I guess I was slightly off. There is actually another archetype specific in here, albeit not very strong. We have the G-Nex archetype. Specifically, this set of monsters revolves around G-Nex Controller, which is a level 3 Dark Machine tuner monster, and specific monsters of other attributes, such as G-Nex Undyne, to create specific types of synchro monsters. It's an interesting archetype, but realistically speaking, we're probably not going to be running it, especially because of the fact that a lot of it is in the Hidden Arsenal sets later on. So we're going to have to pull a lot of that in order to hit the good stuff, and even then, G-Nex is known to be a fairly weak archetype overall. So let's go ahead. We're going to also mention the 4 short prints here, and of the 4, really, each of them have their own unique abilities. We have Tetsudo Irat Newman, which prevents players from special summoning monsters with 1800 or more attack, which is actually kind of interesting. It doesn't prevent normal summons or tribute summons, unfortunately, but given the fact that most of our summons now are going to be synchro related, this is actually kind of interesting. Then we also see Hunter of Black Feathers, which, if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters face up of the same type, you could send a card from your hand to the grave to just destroy a card your opponent controls. It's not the best of effects, but you could definitely tell this is here specifically to be a anti-Blackwing card. Corridor of Agony is kind of interesting, but realistically, now that Glads are no longer a main concern, it's not as big a deal. But Chaos Trap Hole is one that we're definitely going to want to see a couple copies of, and we're probably going to have to hope Rye does not see. If a light or dark monster would be summoned, you could pay 2,000 life points and negate those summons and destroy and banish the monster. So this is actually a really dangerous card for us to deal with, since we currently run a Chaos deck of sorts. So this can actually be a really dangerous card for us. And okay, so here's the rares. And really, the rares don't really have anything special to talk about, I don't think. Like, honestly, yeah, the only thing I could see that I would be like, ooh, that's kind of interesting, is Blackwing Backlash. If you have 5 or more Blackwings in your graveyard when your opponent declares a direct attack, you destroy all monsters your opponent controls. Not very good to start with, but very good for late game. But honestly, I think that's about the only trap card here that matters. So going up into the super rares, and yet again, there isn't really a whole lot here to be considered. Power Frame is kind of an interesting card. If a face-up monster you control is a target for an attack by a monster with a higher attack, you get to target that target, negate the attack, equip this card to that monster, and then basically this monster gains attack power to equal itself out to the attack of the monster that tried to hit it. So essentially, it lets you blank an attack and then boost your monster's attack by a slight amount. Not really all that great altogether, but I guess it's something. And then Ultra Rares. This is actually where a couple of key cards come into play. First, we have Blackwing Breeze the Zephyr, which is actually a card that really kicks off well with Black Whirlwind. If it's added from your deck to your hand but through a card effect, you could special summon it. Unfortunately, it can't be used as a synchro material except for a Blackwing synchro, which kind of sucks because we don't really have any, but it's still kind of neat to have in the back pocket if we need to, especially because Duelist Pack Pro is coming up at some point later on, and that's going to have a lot of Blackwing support available to us. And then we see Blackwing Dragon, which is alright, but it's not super strong overall. Cards for Black Feathers is a pretty good card. It lets you banish a Blackwing from your hand to draw 2 cards, and then you can't special summon during that turn, and you can only play this card once per turn. Kind of a good card, but it definitely has its downsides. And then the other one is Herald of Perfection. We did see the ritual spell down in the commons, but realistically we might not see that. We might not use this very much even if we pull it, at least until we have a better fairy core. But during either player's turn, if your opponent activates a spell, trap, or monster effect, if you send a fairy monster from your hand to the grave, you can negate that card's effect and destroy it, which is actually pretty good. So if we hit one or two of these, that's actually something to consider for later on. And then scrolling down into the secret rares, and honestly, yet again, there really isn't anything special here. Like, there's just really nothing to take note of, honestly. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's about it for the set. Overall, it has more interesting common cards than anything, but that's about it. Now, before we get into the actual pack pulling, we do need to discuss the March 2010 list. This came out about 2 weeks after Absolute Power Force came out, and this right here is the actual the ban list for Edison format. Unfortunately, we don't get to, as I said, we don't get to experience true Edison format because Edison format actually does not include Shining Darkness. So this is basically going to be the post-Edison format for us. But there are a few notable things here to pay attention to. Specifically, Brionic Dragon of the Ice Barrier has gone down to 1 copy. Chaos Sorcerer itself has gone back down to 1 copy. Lumina has actually gone to 1 copy. So, now granted, we don't have Light Swarms right now, but that's still actually kind of a key thing to pay attention to. Tragodia has gone to 1. Rai only has 1 anyway, so it's no big deal for him. Necrogarna is limited. I don't think we have any Necrogarnas right now. Allure of Darkness goes to 1, so that actually impacts Rai pretty badly, because I think he has 2, and we have 1, I believe. I'll have to look into our card pool. Let's see, anything else here? Mind Crush goes down to 1, I don't think we were really using that card. Cyber Dragon goes back up to 2 copies, which is kind of interesting. Honest goes to 2 copies, which we have 2 copies anyway, so that's not that big a deal. Treeborn Frog comes back to 2. And then, pretty much, everything else doesn't really seem to matter. Smashing Ground goes back to 3, which may make a difference depending on how many Rai has, but overall, not too bad. But, yeah, overall, this is actually a pretty solid list, and we're going to have to see what we could come up with once we get to the polls. But for now, we have to actually get to the actual pack pulling, so 24 packs of Shining Darkness. Really, all I want to see for sure are 3 RoninToadin and 3 Spore. Anything beyond that, I think, would be a bonus. So let's flip the first pack. And wow, okay, so first off, we hit our first Spore, which is good to see. And on top of that, we start things off with a Sniffus Secret Rare. That's actually kind of shocking to me. And Sniffus is actually a decent one. I mean, it's not really spectacular, but it's interesting. Once per turn, you contribute a plant monster to special summon, or to target and destroy a card your opponent controls. And then when a plant monster on your field is destroyed while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. And then if you do, it banishes itself whenever it's removed from the field. So it's not, again, it's not the most effective secret rare. And the fact that it's a beast monster instead of a plant kind of makes that a little harder to make use of in plant decks. But overall, it's actually not a bad card. So, okay, good pack. Good starting pack. The next pack has. Okay, we have a Chaos Trapple, so that's 1. We need to see 2 more of those, hopefully. And it looks like that's about it. Oh, there's a holo we get. Infernity Mirage. I don't actually... Okay, that's Synchro Magnet. That's actually not useful for us. But what does this do, actually? Cannot be special summoned from the graveyard. If you have no cards in hand, you contribute this card to select 2 Infernities in your graveyard, special summon them. That's actually not the worst thing in the world, I guess. But we're not really running Infernities. We're not planning on running Infernities, so it's kind of whatever. Another copy of Spore. I think that's our 3rd copy, though, so that's pretty okay. No RoninToadin so far, though. I'm a little scared on that. We're about a third of the way through, and we're not seeing any RoninToadin. That scares me. And we hit the Ghost Rare Blackwing Dragon. Oh, boy. Not not gonna lie, I'm not exactly thrilled to see this card, because it's not the strongest thing. It lets you basically stop effect damage, more or less, but, I mean, even then, it's not the greatest. Like, I mean, it's a level 8 for 2800 attack in general, which isn't bad, but we already have Colossal Fighter. We have Thought Ruler Archfiend that has a slightly lower attack but a better effect, and we have Red Dragon Archfiend, which has a higher attack in general. So, kind of cool to see it, but not necessarily something I want to see. Okay, we hit another holo, and Into the Void. This is actually an interesting ultra rare. If you have 3 or more cards in your hand, you get to draw a card, and then during the end phase of this turn, you discard your entire hand if you drew that card. So, this is basically a very gambly, very high gamble card. Oh wait, this is limited? What? Okay, I did not realize this card was limited. That's interesting. Anything else in the pack, though? Not really. Okay, thank God. There's our first RoninToadin. Hopefully we can pull 2 more of these. And I see another Ghibli the Searing Wind. That definitely rounds out our playset if it hadn't already. Another Blackwing Bombardment, and another Dawn of the Herald. So, okay, good pack. Good pack. There's another RoninToadin. Oh, thank God. Okay, so there's 2. At the very least, 2 is workable. 3 is preferred, but 2 is workable. And really nothing else in this pack that I think of. Batteryman Fuel Cell, I guess, can be kind of interesting. If you control 2 or more face-up Batteryman monsters, you can special summon this card. And then you can tribute a Batteryman, accept this card, to take a monster, a card your opponent controls, and bounce it to their hand. So, it's interesting, but not spectacular, I guess. But, okay, so we need 1 more RoninToadin. We have 6 packs to get it. Let's see. Okay, so we have 3 packs left to go, and the last 3 packs literally had nothing for us. So, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. We pulled a couple decent holos, I guess, but I want to see that 3rd RoninToadin. Can we please see Toad? Thank you, God! Thank you, God. 3rd RoninToadin. Oh my God, because if we really only ended up with 2, I was going to be a bit nervous, but 3 definitely makes things easier for us. Now granted, I'm expecting Rai to ban this card immediately once it gets into its shenanigans, but still. Thank God. Alright, second to last pack. Can we hit anything? Okay, another RoninToadin. That's actually funny. Nothing special here. I keep saying Synchro Magnet. What does this do? When you Synchro Summon a Synchro Monster, you can Special Summon this card from your hand. I mean, it's okay, but the fact that it can't be Normal Summoned or set kind of sucks. Alright, last pack. I mean, we've got 3 Spore, we got 3 Toad, we got 3 Chaos Trapple. What else could we ask for, right? Oh. Oh, wait a minute. We hit up cards for Black Feathers. Oh, that's actually not too bad. That kind of helps us out if we want to go Blackwing, because we do have... I'm pretty sure we still have an Allure of Darkness. That's actually very interesting. Oh, maybe we don't have one. Wait, okay. Interesting. I thought we did. I'll have to double check, but maybe I mistyped something, but we'll see. But either way, cards for Black Feathers is actually not too bad. The rest of the pack's kind of meh, but you know what? Overall, we actually pulled pretty good. I mean, we got the Chaos Trapples we needed, we got the Spores, we got the RoninToadins. I mean, we hit Blackwing Dragon, so I guess that's kind of funny, if nothing else. But I mean, we also hit an Into the Void, we hit cards for Black Feathers. Overall, we actually hit pretty decent for this pack. I'm kind of surprised, not gonna lie. But, okay, so we're gonna go ahead, get into the deck builder, and see what we can come up with. Stay tuned. Why do I do this to myself? Alright, so this is what we're bringing to tonight's duel. And this is probably the dumbest friggin' thing I have ever built. Not even joking. This here is Frog OTK. The only reason it is not Frog FTK is because there is a card that is usually needed for that called Mass Driver. Unfortunately, despite it being a common, we did not pull a single copy of this thing. And as a result, we cannot use this. So, we're going to go ahead and utilize a backup strat. It is going to suck, and we are probably still going to lose, but you know what? We're going to give this a try. So, let's go ahead and run through the card by card here, and explain what we're doing. So first up, we have 2 copies of Cannon Soldier. This is basically what we need in order to get the OTK going. Basically, with Cannon Soldier, you sack a monster off, and it deals 500 damage. This is not once per turn, so you can sacrifice a monster multiple times, so the goal is going to be, hopefully, deal 16 rounds of damage to the opponent. Thankfully, Cannon Soldier can also sacrifice himself if need be, but if we get things going the right way, then we won't actually need to. 1 copy of Cyberjar. I'll explain why we're going to have this in just a second. We have 3 copies of Dupe Frog. This monster cannot... if it's face up on the field, your opponent can't attack other monsters, except for this one. So if you get 2 of these on the field, that actually creates a dupe lock, meaning the opponent can't attack at all. And when it goes from the field to the graveyard, you can add a frog monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. That also can be helpful. We have 2 copies of Flip Frog Frog. You can flip it face down, and then when it's flipped, you bounce monsters back to the opponent's hand, up to the number of frog monsters you control. 2 copies of Mother Grizzly. This is here to basically search out one specific monster, which we'll get to in just a second. We have 3 copies of Poison Draw Frog. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, except from being destroyed in battle, while face down, you get to draw a card. 3 RoninToadin. This is basically the man of the hour here. Unfortunately, he can't be used as synchro material, which sucks. However, he does have the effect that if he's in the graveyard, you could banish a frog monster in your graveyard to special summon this thing. It is not once per turn, so the goal is going to basically be dump all of these monsters out, summon out RoninToadin 16 times, and proceed to fire him out with Cannon Soldier. 1 copy of Sangan. This will let us search out the Cannon Soldier. This will let us search out the RoninToadin. We have 3 copies of Submarine Frog, which is here mostly just as a name. And then we have 1 Substitoad, and this is actually one of the reasons why we want Mother Grizzly. This thing has the effect that you contribute a monster, to special summon a frog monster from your deck, except Frog the Jam. We do not carry Frog the Jam anyway, and frog monsters can't be destroyed in battle. Basically, the goal is going to be get Substitute out on the field, basically dump out as many of these guys as we can, get Cannon Soldier on the field, get RoninToadin on the field constantly, and just keep firing off. 3 copies of Swap Frog. This has the effect that you can special summon it from your hand by discarding another water monster, and when it's summoned, you can send a level 2 or lower Aqua water monster from your deck to the graveyard. We are going to be sending RoninToadin with these, so that's going to be important. 2 copies of Treeborn Frog, and 3 copies of Unifrog. We might attack directly with Unifrog, who knows. We're probably not going to make use of that, but we'll see. And then, for our spells, we only have a few. We have Card to Save for Turn, 1 copy, which, if we're going to get RoninToadin off a bunch of times, this will let us keep drawing. 1 Giant Trunade, 1 Monster Gate, 1 Painful Choice, 1 Pot of Greed, and 1 Reasoning. Monster Gate and Reasoning are basically here in order to try to get either Substitoad or Cannon Soldier out on the field, so that way we can summon out the other one. Because, unfortunately, we need to normal summon at least one of these 2. Painful Choice will help us mill out our deck a little bit. Pot of Greed is, of course, here for drawing purposes, as usual. And Giant Trunade is basically here mostly to clean up the opponent's board, so that way we can have a chance to go off and get everything done without any kind of provocation. For our traps, they're pretty simple. We have 1 Call of the Haunted, 1 Ring of Destruction, and triple Threatening Roar. Call of the Haunted is, again, here to basically bring back either Substitute or Cannon Soldier from the graveyard to help facilitate things. Ring of Destruction is there in case we need that last little bit of damage somehow. And Threatening Roar is basically there to save our ass. Our side deck, we have 2 copies of Chaos Necromancer and 2 copies of Grenmaju de Aiza. The reason for these is actually because the goal is going to be milling out as many monsters as possible and potentially banishing as many monsters as possible. What that means is, there's a good chance that we can actually get Chaos Necromancer or Grenmaju to have super high attack, and that can help us beat over any big threat. We also have 2 copies of Fishborg Blaster. If you have a face-up level 3 or lower water monster on the field, you can summon this card from your graveyard by pitching a card, which if we have card to save for turn out, then that's going to have we're going to have a lot of cards to work with. It does have the other effect that if it's used as synchro material, the other monsters have to be water, but basically that just means that we can't use... The only thing we can't really use is going to be Sandkin, Cannon Soldier, and Cyberjar, which is honestly no big deal. We also have 1 Plague Spreader Zombie in case we want to have an extra tuner. We have ourselves a Dark Hole. We have 1 Metamorphosis, 2 Moray of Greed. This is to help shuffle some of the water monsters back into our deck and keep drawing. 3 Wetlands. This is so that way if we have to attack, we can attack with things like Submarine Frog and have a 2400 with Piercing. And 1 copy of Ultimate Offering, where if we absolutely need it, we can pay 500 life points, summon our monsters that way. And then the extra deck. We're probably not summoning too many of these, but we do have 2 Fishborg and 1 Plague Spreader available, so we might get into something. We have Thousand Eyes Restrict. Metamorphosis lets us send our Treeborn Frogs to the grave for this, so we can deal with that. And then we have Ancient Fairy Dragon, Arcanite Magician, Armory Arm, Black Rose Dragon, Black Wing Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Gaia Knight, the Force of Earth, Goyo Guardian, Iron Chain Dragon, double Psychic Life Transfer, 1 RDA, 1 Stardust, and 1 Thought Ruler. So, I don't know what to expect out of this. This is probably going to be one of the dumbest things we've ever tried, but we're going to give it a try. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to duel.
Alright, welcome to Frog Hell, I guess. We have to wave goodbye to Edison format and start playing a bunch of ad formats.
Yup. But, I mean, it's still 5Ds, it's still going to be fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Sweet, that's a good start.
That is, because you're on a big losing streak.
I am, and
so I bet you're going to need every edge you can get.
Yeah.
Well, good luck, duelist.
Good luck. Alright, draw, standby, main. I think I'm going to just set a card, and pass the turn.
Just 1 card, huh? Interesting. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Well, you're going to get to see what's up right off the bat.
Okay.
I am going to activate Morphtronic Map.
Ooh, Morphtronics. Interesting.
I've been waiting to play Morphtronics since I got the engine in Crimson Crisis, but I couldn't do that because you had Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, so now you know why I banned Chimeratech Fortress Dragon.
Fair enough.
I am going to then normal summon Morphtronic Selphon.
Oh boy, channeling your inner Leo, I see. Alright, Selphon's good.
Then you're going to see another reason I'm excited to play this deck. This is the first time this card is seeing play in the Progression series.
And what's that going to be?
I am going to activate Machine Duplication.
Oh, good God. So
I'm going to get 2 more.
Ooh, that's going to be...
Wherever my last one is. Oh, here it is. I hope you like card advantage. So I'm going to activate the first Selphon.
Alright.
Dialing now. Oh, 5. That ain't bad.
That's pretty good.
So we'll see what we wind up with here.
Oh boy. Those are some pretty good choices.
They are.
So you either
I
get...
think I'm gonna grab Vidion here.
That gives me a slight hint as to what you have in your hand, then.
Then we'll shuffle, and then I'm gonna activate the second one.
Okay.
Just 2. Hey, I hit!
Oof. And a pretty good hit at that.
It is. It's Scopen. I'm actually thinking about what battle position I want to summon this in.
Yeah, that actually does make a difference, given the fact that it can... That depends on what level it becomes.
I am going to summon the Scopen, I just need to see what I want to go into. I am going to special summon the Scopen in defense position.
Okay.
Then I am going to synchro Scopen. Or do I want to synchro yet? Actually, no, I'm not going to synchro yet. I still need to activate my third Self-on effect.
Okay. So now you get to... Oh, don't forget to add your limiter removal back to the deck.
Right. Knew I was forgetting something.
And now you get to
So I'll go ahead
scout.
and activate my defense position Self-on. See what we can wind up with here. Big number, please. That's a pretty big number.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of good info.
Okay. Okay, well that definitely confirms what I want to do. Because I don't want to draw any of these cards. So I'm actually going to sink here for 7.
So what are you going into?
Power tool.
Oh, good point, good point.
So we'll go ahead and activate power tool.
Okay.
So I will show you this pre-mat, this mage power, and this mage power.
Okay.
I am going to mage power the power tool.
Okay.
Then I am going to Morphtronic Cord, targeting Vidion.
Oh, interesting.
Then I am going to proceed to the battle phase. I'm going to be a little bit greedy here, and I'm going to attack with the Vidion first. 18.
Well, unfortunately, your power tool dragon gets to live. However, boom.
That's not bad.
And I have a feeling this is probably going to show what I've got.
Yeah, that's not unexpected. We just got RoninToadin, so of course you're on frogs.
Okay, bind, dupe, mage power, Scopen, solemn. Okay.
I figured you would be on frogs.
So I'm going to...
So this Morphtronic Bind is going to do absolutely nothing. Not to Grave. Uh,
I will add these two to my hand.
Thinking about what position I want to put Sculpin in. I will put Sculpin in defense position.
Alright. And now I'm going to activate the effect of Swap Frog.
Yup!
So let's...
Here comes RoninToadin.
Ribbit, ribbit.
Then I'm going to just hit over the Swap Frog for 13.
Okay. Oh, right. And that goes bye-bye.
At least I didn't have to deal with you summoning that during main phase. Anyway, second main. I am going to... set 2 cards face down. And pass the turn.
Okay. Draw. Standby, main. Ooh. I like that. Okay, so let's start things off with Painful Choice.
So good.
Does this resolve, or do you have...
So good. Oh my god.
Does this resolve, or is Moses saying no?
I really don't want to use Solemn on this, but it's so good, because I know you have a flip-flop frog set, which is going to eat my entire board. That's the problem. What do you get with this? You get, like, RoninToadin. Like, you get all your RoninToadins in rotation, and you get... I think it's too good. I think I have to Solemn. I don't want to, but I think I have to.
Okay. I'm going to activate my face-down card, Call of the Haunted, targeting my Swap Frog.
That is a Swap Frog. You got it.
Alright. So, Swap Frog hits the field. Swap Frog's effect activates.
Yep. Gonna dump another RoninToadin.
I am. Then I'm going to activate Swap Frog's effect. I will bounce it back to my hand.
Yep. You have an extra normal summon.
So, let's see. How do I want to go about this exactly?
At least I don't have to worry about Totally Awesome yet.
True.
God.
Okay. Let's see. How do
because
I
people do things other than summon it off of Bahamut Shark.
Okay. I think I'm going to... Okay, so first things first, I'm going to flip summon my Poison Draw Frog.
That'll trigger Morphtronic Map.
Then I'm going to flip my Flip-Flop Frog.
Yep, that's going to put this back in the extra deck, and this back in my hand.
Okay. Now, I'm going... Let's see. Which one do I want to do which one do I want to do first? I don't know what your face down is, but I also know Morphtronic Map is also a problem. So I'm going to actually activate Giant Trunade.
That's pretty good. Okay. I mean, Map was very quickly banned in playoffs for a reason.
Oh, yes. So now, I'm going to discard my Ronintoadin to special summon Swap Frog.
Yep. What do you dump off this? Probably something like Treeborn.
Let's see. Can be a level 2 or lower Aqua. So... I guess I might as well show him off.
Oh, yep. Yeah. Yeah, this has been public knowledge because at the time we're recording this, this episode actually just went live.
Yep.
So I knew you had a Substitoad, which is probably the reason why you're playing the deck.
Okay. So.
Am I dead?
You're definitely not dead. The question is, how far do I want to take this? Okay. I'm going to activate Swap Frog and bounce it back to hand again. I will pitch my Poison Draw Frog, special summon Swap Frog, activate its effect, and send my Poison Draw to the grave so I can draw a card.
Yep. That's what they're there for.
Then...
This isn't even the good version of frogs yet.
Nope. Bounce back.
There's the Treeborn.
Special summon. Let's see. I will send the other Treeborn.
Yeah, because that card's not limited anymore.
Discard to special summon.
Just dumping everything.
Think I will send another Unifrog.
Where's Nibiru when you need it?
Alright, battle phase. Swing for 1,000.
I'll just take it all.
Alright. Main phase 2, I will set 2 cards. I will set a monster. And end my turn, because with all of that, I never normal summoned anything.
So you didn't use your regular normal summon?
Nope. Well, with this I did.
Right. Alright. Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I really am wondering if that was just an oversight. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is fire map.
Okay.
Then...
Okay, so let's see. You use Solemn. So, you still have Bind, Dupe, Mage Power, and Scopin in hand. As well as... yeah, so there are 3 other cards I'm not aware of.
What gets me out of this is the question. Like, what gets me out of this is the... Can I do this without... Boy, this really sucks what I have to do, but I think this is what we have to do. I'm going to pre-mat targeting... I really hate to use my normal summon for this, but I think I have to. I'm gonna well, let me pay 8 first. That's very important. I'm gonna pre-mat targeting Vidion.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
Normal summon Scopin.
Okay.
Synchro. Rose. Effective Black Rose.
Okay. Thinking here. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Okay, so first, in response to Black Rose, I'm going to chain Threatening Roar.
Sure, T-Roar is fine.
And then, I'm also going to chain Call of the Haunted, targeting my Poison Draw Frog.
Oh, just a draw card. That's fine.
Okay, so that goes. These all go. Poison Draw goes, and Dupe Frog goes. So I...
Yep, so...
Dupe Frog, Chainlink... So, Dupe Frog, Chainlink 1, Draw Frog, Chainlink 2. So I draw a card, and then I get to add a frog from my deck to my hand. Except for...
Actually... Oh wait, no, these are all... They're all
optional. And since nothing happened afterwards...
So that means map actually is Chainlink 3.
Okay.
So I don't have any response to that. So...
I was gonna say, none of my things matter. Like, none of my things really change depending on what you do anyway, so... I
think I get Scope in here. With map, and then you resolve your effects.
So I drew a card, and then I will add a Swap Frog to my hand.
Yep.
And you can't attack this turn.
Correct. I am going to fire off Morphtronic Map again, though. Then I'm going to set 2 cards face down. And pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby, main. That is probably the best card that could have happened. Albeit not... Well, I say not necessarily, but it actually helps a lot. I'm going to activate Card of Safe Return.
Well, it's about time to start thinking about banning this card, then.
Any response to this?
No, unfortunately.
Alright, so first things first, I will banish my... Oh, I just realized I could have brought Treeborn back, but oh well. Treeborn to the grave to bring back Toad. Any response?
Nope. You're fine. You can draw your card.
Draw my card. Okay. I will pitch Submarine Frog to special summon Swap Frog.
Yep. What you dumping?
I will be dumping Submarine Frog. Then I will add Swap Frog to my hand.
So you have an extra normal summon.
I will pitch Flip Frog Frog, special summon. So I will send Poison Draw Frog to the graveyard. Then I will banish my other Treeborn Frog to special summon RoninToadin.
This is why Card of Safe Return is banned. Is exactly this sort of thing.
Bounce Swap Frog back. Pitch Submarine, special summon Swap Frog.
So I Black Rose your entire board, get about a 5 for 2 on that exchange, and now you're still up more cards than I am.
I will banish Poison Draw. Bring back Toad.
At least we don't have Sea Lancer yet.
True. Alright.
Because you really don't need to be recycling all those materials.
Then I will banish Flip Flop Frog. Special summon RoninToadin. Draw another card. And there's the man of the hour. I normal summon Cannon Soldier, baby.
I am dead.
Do you have any response to this?
No, I'm just dead.
I can't believe I actually got that off for once.
It's not like it's unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The minute RoninToadin became available, it was going to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and this is where Mass Driver got banned, I believe, on the very next ban list after the release of RoninToadin. Hopefully I'll have better luck going first this time. Wow, that's so bad. I'm gonna set one and pass.
Damn, okay. I'll draw. Standby main. I think I will set a card, set a monster, and pass the turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I do have Sidra.
Ooh, Sydra's pretty good.
Proceed to battle.
Yeah, no.
I have Rod, huh? Yeah, that's fine. Go!
Alright, draw. Standby, main. Let's see. Do I want to do that one? That probably isn't the best idea. But I don't know what you're face down. You know what? Nah, who cares? I'll run out of Sangan.
Sangan is fine.
Feet for 1,000?
1k in.
And I'll pass my turn.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I do have Vidion. I finally drew a monster.
Okay.
And I'm willing to bet that your set is Dupe Frog. So I'm going to fire Map, set another card face down, and I'm just going to pass the turn.
Okay.
It may not be Dupe, but I think it's probably some kind of 2k booty because way too many frogs have 2k.
Right. Okay. Well, unfortunately for you, you're about to visit my homeland. Activate wetlands.
That's not good. Yeah, that's fine.
So we will set this back so we can reactivate it. There we go. So I'm going to... You know what? I'm actually going to do this because it's funny. I'm going to summon out Poison Draw Frog.
That is pretty funny.
And 13 into Vidion.
Sure, I take 3.
And then Sangan hits for 1,000.
Sure.
And I'll go. When Stoling Book lets it. There we go.
Alright, draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I do have another map.
Ah. Oh,
I have Sidra.
Okay.
Now I gotta do math. I know what I'm gonna do.
Alright, let's see it.
I'm gonna activate Overload Fusion.
Ooh, Overload. It's 3. 24.
So it's a 24 Chimera Tech. Chaining to the effect of Overdragon, I'm gonna activate Limit Removal. So then it becomes a 48.
Yeah, that's enough. That's enough to clear me out. So. Alright, that's a good way to do it, though.
I had to. silly frog deck at least.
Yeah, one game is good, and that means that I have to really be on the draw on this one. Okay, so
I just
draw.
think it's so scary being on the play for you.
Okay, let's see. This puts me in an... Okay. I'm gonna start by setting a monster and passing the turn.
Alright, draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. I'm going to start with Pot of Greed.
Alright, that's good.
It's a good start.
Given the fact that I drew like 5 cards in game 1, I can't exactly complain about Pot of Greed.
Not really. Then I'm going to continue my turn by prohibiting Swap Frog.
Oh.
Because that's your primary starter.
Okay.
Then I am going to run out Morphtronic Borden.
Okay, Warden.
Go to battle. 500 direct.
Okay.
Main 2, I'm going to set one and pass.
Alright. Draw. Stand by main. That's not too bad. Question is, how much is that going to help me, though? Actually, Well, I don't think it'll necessarily help too much, but it can at least get me started. So, okay, I'm going to first activate Giant Trunade.
Gross.
Alright. Then I'm going to run out my Cannon Soldier.
Seems okay.
I'm going to... It doesn't have to be face up, but I'm going to flip summon my Sangan anyway. Pitch him for 500.
Rocket. Yep.
And seeing as how I now know that you have yourself the Prohibition, let me go ahead and start running out Swap Frog shit now.
Yeah, you need to do this now. That's what I was trying to stop.
So I will pitch my RoninToadin to special summon Swap Frog.
Yup.
Use his effect, so we will send another RoninToadin. Bounce back. Pitch.
Yep, so now you can just vomit your entire deck in your graveyard.
Well, unfortunately, I can't throw everything to the graveyard.
Enough. I know what this deck does. Just gets all the RoninToadins in rotation is what it does. Yeah, just dump all the RoninToadins out of the deck. Really needed you to not have Trunade there. I remember in the first game getting screwed up by Trunade too.
And let's see. Okay. Then I'm going to activate Wetlands.
That's also something I was afraid of.
Alright, Cannon Soldier in for 1400 to deal 9.
31.
And then 22. And... Main phase 2. I feel like unfortunately, I know what you're planning on, what you're going to do to me soon, so my best bet, honestly, might be to wall up a bit. So, first, I'm going to send Swamp Frog to the graveyard to burn you for 5.
Sure.
Then I will banish submarine to special summon RoninToadin. Any
I
response?
have Crow.
Alright, so that's gone. I will banish submarine for RoninToadin. Got another Crow?
I do not have another Crow.
Okay. I will burn for 5.
Yep. Because you have 3 more burns in there if you want,
I do.
which is a problem.
But what I think I'm gonna do is I'll summon one, summon the other, and then I will the question is, actually, I think I'm just gonna burn for 500 more and that's it.
Oh, just the cannon soldier itself.
And then wall up, because
Right.
I don't want to
Draw
leave
for
myself
turn.
completely empty-handed with you still having 6 cards in hand.
Standby phase, main phase.
God, could you imagine if Wetlands boosted defense too?
No kidding. I think I'm going to... You used all your resources. So I think at this point... What am I scared of? You have no cards in hand. You have no cards in hand. You're out of frogs for RoninToadin. What do I just lose the game to is the question. At this point, you already have your RoninToadins in rotation, so prohibiting swap really doesn't do too much. I'm actually going to prohibit RoninToadin here.
Interesting.
This way you can't recycle the RoninToadin. I'm going to set 2 and set a monster. And pass the turn.
Alright. Draw. Standby main. Let's see. Okay. Question now is, what is your face-down monster? Or rather, see, this is the tough part. It's the fact that I don't have... The tough part to this is the fact that I don't have a lot of attack power at the moment, because my toads are up to 1300, but that's it. So if you have another Borden on the field, I can't beat over that.
No, you can't.
I think I'm just gonna set a monster and pass. Kind of make things easier on myself.
Draw for turn, standby phase, main phase. Think I'm just going to try to put the pressure on here. I'm going to flip summon Morphtronic Scopin and Torrential.
Ew. Yeah, I guess that's fine. You got my Treeborn.
And that's going to come back every turn, which is annoying, but...
Actually, it's not, because I currently have Wetlands up, so I can't bring it back.
Right. What route do I want to go here?
I will say, though, seeing Scopin makes me feel better about knowing that I wouldn't have been able to beat over it anyway.
You have no cards in hand, and you can't res your RoninToadin. I think I just have to try to push for as much damage as possible here. I'm going to pre-mat.
Okay. So what the hell are you...
Target Borden.
Ooh, okay.
I'm going to normal summon Scopin. Then I'm going to sink
Goyo?
for Goyo.
Okay.
Battle phase, 28.
Alright.
Then I'm going to, after combat, I'll just pass.
Alright. Draw. Standby, main.
Well, your deck is all monsters, at least, so it's pretty easy to stay alive.
True. Damn. Okay, let me think something here. I think I only have one real hope of surviving, of winning. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to run out Poison Draw Frog.
Oh, to draw a card.
Yeah, I'm going to crash into Goyo.
Yeah, I don't want that because then you'll get to draw. So take your 20 set, or take your 15. It's 15. Because Wetlands is making it a 13, so you'll take 15, you get to draw a card. I do not want the Poison Draw Frog.
Ugh. That would have been nice a couple turns ago, unfortunately. Not now, though. That said, you only have one card, so I have to hope.
Alright, I just need to draw a monster. That's a monster.
Yep.
Normal summon Vidion. You made me work for that one, too.
Because the card I drew was Substitoad.
Yep. That's actually one of the things I was thinking about prohibiting. It was Substitoad or Card of Safe Return, but I think the correct play after you did the Swap Frog shenanigans was to prohibit RoninToadin.
Well, that's what made me laugh, was when you were sitting there like, what do you have that I would lose to? I'm sitting here with 2 RoninToadin, and I'm like, my thought is Substitoad. Because if I have Sub, I could just dump him and then basically mill my entire deck out.
The reason why I prohibited RoninToadin specifically is because with a Ronin, then you just have any. If I prohibit Substitoad, then you're just a Swap Frog away from filling up your graveyard again. And I only could really get over a RoninToadin with Goyo Guardian. So then every frog you have in your graveyard becomes another draw phase. Right. Whereas if I shut you off of RoninToadin, then you need to draw actual monsters from your hand.
Right. Unfortunately, I had to dig. I was hoping to find the Ring of Destruction, but that didn't work.
I had my own rod set as well, so if you made Substitoad, you would get 1 activation off of it. But you made me work for that. I had to play around a lot of things. The last card in my hand was Overload Fusion. I was just looking for Cyber Dragon.
Yeah.
Mostly. And with Sidra at 2 now, it makes this a lot easier to play.
Right. See, yeah, unfortunately, there is one. The thing is, I wasn't 100% sure if this deck was going to work. Honestly, the fact that it worked as well as it did surprises me. Because you've seen a lot of my cards. There is one card I'm pretty sure you've noticed is absent, though. Guess who didn't pull a single fucking copy of Mass Driver?
You didn't pull Mass Driver? Oh my god!
Nope.
That's a common!
I know. I'm pretty sure it's the only common out of Magician's Force that I did not pull a single any copies of. And
I didn't get this time I'm the one that didn't get Substitoad.
I didn't notice it until I got my 3 RoninToadin, and I was like, perfect, I am good, I can build this deck. And then I started digging into the file to look into it, and then honestly, if I had a reaction cam while I was building and seeing that, it would have been priceless, because that made me go, oh shit. So that's why I had to switch gears into the Cannon Soldiers instead, because...
Were you playing Limit Reverse?
No. The reason I wasn't playing a Limit Reverse is because the only... I don't have a whole lot of cards that actually help a lot in that sense for it, and, my deck's already running thin as it is. I needed a whole bunch of monsters. This deck runs something like 28, 29 monsters.
It has to.
And then... it was already hard just getting the wetlands in from the side deck.
So one thing I wanna go over with this deck that I didn't get the chance to do is look at Morphtronic Borden's stat line.
Oh god, it can be used for dupe.
Yeah, because then if you dupe it, then where's my third one? I think it might be in the grave already. Yeah, it is. So if you dupe a Borden and then put 2 of them in defense position, none of your monsters can be destroyed by battle, and they can all attack directly.
Right. That being said, there is actually, like, unfortunately, I mean, well, fortunately in your case, because it didn't end up working out to matter, but that actually doesn't work very well against this deck simply because of Submarine Frog.
Yep, because Submarine Frog...
Which, I mean, granted, it's not a lot, but I effectively outdamage you 600 to 500 each turn. So. Yes,
but once you have things like... you also didn't get to see a lot of the synergies in this deck because I boarded them out since you were playing a deck that didn't win by damage. My main deck, I had the 3 Bind, of course, which immediately came out because they stopped literally nothing in that deck.
Right.
But I also had several copies of No Entry.
See, No Entry is a pretty good option, especially in Morphtronic builds. That, like, it's just... A lot of the stuff Morphtronic does in general doesn't really mesh well here. Like, I'm going to say, honestly, Prohibition is what won you the game. What won you this match. And
this card is so good.
It blows my mind that this card that pretty much didn't even see play back when it first came out has never seen actual play. This thing has been a juggernaut for us, specifically. It's insane.
It's good against combo decks, specifically. If you can shut down a critical piece of their deck, that's why these have been in my side deck since I pulled them, is just in case there's some kind of degenerate combo deck that you come up with, and this counts as a degenerate combo deck, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
There's this synergy, the Sulfon synergy with Machine Dupe is like a +4 in card advantage, which is ridiculous.
Like, the only
thing... Unfortunately, No Entry will only trigger Morphtronic Map once. But then you can just manually change the positions of all of your Morphtronic monsters, and each of those will trigger Map. So then you can get up to something like 3 or 4 counters on Map, which, with all of the monsters attacking directly, gets out of hand very quickly. Oh, you got one too?
Yeah, I got the Ghost Rare version.
Mine was not a Ghost Rare. I got an Ultimate Rare.
I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm probably never going to make use of this stupid card, but hey, it's nice.
It's actually, I think, your biggest 8 right now as well, because I don't believe you have... Do you have RDA? I can't remember.
Yeah, I've got RDA.
I think you have RDA. But...
So, I mean, honestly, I still prefer Thought Ruler to this anyway, just because it's 100 points less, but at the same time, it has protection, and on top of that, it also can gain me life points back if I need to, so... That's the thing. Blackwing Dragon is interesting, but just it's not a great card in general, aside from its stat line. And then on top of that, it doesn't even get the synergy with Blackwings because of how it's named, which is entirely
I'm pretty
stupid.
sure that was on purpose.
Oh yeah, it had to have been on purpose, but...
I do have one more question before we go to the prize wheel, and this is about the bans from your wheel because you spun 2 ban tickets.
Okay.
You had the better Gladcore in that you had Laquari and Heraclinos, and I didn't. What was your logic behind banning Bestiari?
To put it bluntly, the thing is, I know full well you have more experience with Gladiator Beasts than I do, and even though I had the better core, the fact is I'm not a better pilot at it. And on top of that, because of the fact that I know you have a lot more in terms of battle tricks to stop attacks from happening, like, I can stop attacks from happening. You can outright destroy my monsters more consistently. So, I feel like it's going to be, essentially, I'm going to be the one losing the prize trade in that regard. So, I figure it sucks losing a few wild cards, it sucks losing a major core, but I'd rather just shut the deck out entirely and have it to where it doesn't become something that gets played constantly for the next 30 episodes anyway, So,
I figured that might have been the case where it was just an issue of having less experience with the mirror specifically, just because the mirror is really difficult to navigate. So
right.
I figured it was just a case of the mirror match being hard. But I just wanted to confirm that before we moved on to our next set, which is Duelist Revolution. There's a lot of powerful cards in that set, and that set has a lot of powerful implications in the side sets that we'll be getting access to as well.
Right.
So I will be looking forward to that.
Alright, well,
But this is the biggest win streak on either side so far in the progression series.
yeah, unfortunately it's going to be a pain to try to beat this and catch... to... It's going to be hard to beat this, but at the same time, if I can at least snap the streak, that'll give me a chance to catch up and start pulling my way back. Because I'm currently, what, like 7 or 8 behind altogether? Something like that?
After this, it will be 9.
So yeah, I have a lot of catching up to do, which, I mean, granted, we still have a lot of episodes to go, but...
Oh, absolutely. We're not even halfway through yet. But you've also got 2 potential really big spins coming up.
True.
And that could mean more band tickets, that could mean another core to a deck, just powerful staples, all kinds of things.
See, this is the tough part, too. It's the fact that, like, I don't even know what I'd want to necessarily ban if I hit a ban. Like, don't get me wrong, DD Crow would be, like, a thought, but at the same time, I don't know, there's just a lot more to it. Like, there really isn't a whole lot in the sense of... Like, there isn't really anything overarching right now that you have that I'm like, I have to get rid of. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Prohibition has been a pain in the butt for a while, but honestly, I love this card too much to turn around and be like, we have to prohibit the Prohibition. Like,
I can actually see it if it's been giving you this much trouble, because I don't know if you have any copies of it.
I have like 1 or 2, and I've actually had it in a few side decks here and there. It's just a matter of a lot of times I don't have good times to make use of it. And I mean, this
it's
deck,
also a really hard card to use.
Yeah. Well, it also doesn't, like, in this case, it also doesn't help that, like, the only spell trap removal I had was Giant Trunade, because my other alternative with that is Unifrog, which, honestly, the first time around, when you had called Swap Frog, I had Dupe Frog face down. I had Unifrog in my hand. I was actually tempted to summon Unifrog, flip Dupe Frog, hit you for, I think it would be like 16, and then pop Prohibition, but then I didn't know what your other face downs were, which, finding out that it was Ring and Torrential Tribute, yeah, that told me that I wasn't going to be able to get that hit off anyway.
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to play into the TT there, mostly. But in any case, I think I'm going to see what I wind up with and see what you wind up with, too.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And, yeah, Duelist Revolution's going to be a big one, too, potentially.
Mostly for the gold series that comes with it.
Yeah. Alright. Okay, so unfortunately, Ribbit did not work out as I hoped, but oh well. So once again, we're on the catch-up wheel. We get 2 spins of this, and honestly, I feel like just about anything might be good. Tournament pack wildcards, even that might still be pretty decent, because we have a few things to work with, so let's spin this up and see what we could get. And as I say that, I actually hit that. So I'll have to figure that one out. Okay, so the way this works is I get access to 1 card of anything from the Turbo Packs or Champion Packs available from the last 8 core sets, which means I could pick anything from Champion Pack 8, Turbo Pack 1, or Turbo Pack 2. Looking through Champion Pack 8, honestly, I don't see anything that I am, like, insanely thrilled about. Great Shogun Shien seems like a good option, but that seems about it. Maybe Burial from a Different Dimension, too. Turbo Pack 1, honestly, The only thing that I see here that I would be insanely thrilled to pick up would be another Crebons, which is kind of depressing when you think about that. And then for Turbo Pack 2, the only card I can see here that would be really good for me would be either Anti-Spell Fragrance or Foolish Burial. I'm kind of... As much as Great Shogun Shien would be fun, I think I'm going to choose not to take that one. So it basically kind of boils down to, do I want to pick up a Crebons or do I want to pick up Foolish Burial? And the reason I'm considering is because I only have one Crebons, which is a bit rough. That being said, I do know that Crebons is a common, so if I hit common wild cards, I can make use of that. Whereas Foolish Burial, I don't have very many chances at. So, yeah, you know what? We're going to go ahead and pick up a copy of Foolish Burial for this wild card. Because I feel like this would be a good pickup, and it's going to be very helpful for us later down the road, especially if we hit certain things. So with that being said, we're locking that in, and now we're going for our second spin. Let's see what we can hit. Ooh. So 6 packs of the reprint or side set. That's not too bad either. Okay, so after looking at all of the reprints and side sets available to us, it looks like the best option right now would be Duelist Pack Yuki, and honestly, even this isn't necessarily the best of things. There are a few cards here and there that are actually kind of helpful for us, but there's also a couple of stinkers. Like, looking through, let's scroll down real quick to look at what we've got. Rares, Marshmallow is like the only one that I necessarily would say we want to see. The rest of them are kind of meh. Monster Reborn actually kind of sucks because it's already banned. So if we end up pulling that, we actually have to pull for a different rare. Super rares are all kind of whatever. The ultra rare actually can be pretty good because we have Mirror Force available, which wouldn't be too bad. And then the commons, I think we have 2 copies of Swords from Revealing Light at the moment, so a third wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Oh wait, no, we already have 3 of that. That kind of bites. Brain Control wouldn't be too bad though. Spellbinding Circle wouldn't be terrible. Man. I mean, it's only 6 packs, but I guess we have to hope that we either hit Marshmallow or Mirror Force, and there really isn't a whole lot left to the options here. So we're gonna go ahead and hit that. So let's see what we can hit. First pack. Unfortunately, we did not hit anything we wanted to see. Magical Hats isn't too bad. Dark Magician Girl is kind of funny, but we're not gonna make use of that. Second pack. Okay, so there's the Monster Reborn, which means that we are going to have to pull an extra pack and replace that rare. So, okay. Let's see. Oh, I just realized that was still recording. Okay, that's going to be fun to cut that. Okay, so here's the extra pack for this. So we're only focusing on the rare. And that is probably the worst of the rares available to us. Okay, so we hit Card of Sanctity for that one. So basically, imagine this Monster Reborn is being replaced with a literal pile of shit. Alright, third pack. Okay, not too bad. An exchange, that's actually kind of interesting. Brain Control is nice to see. Another Kuribo, it's kind of whatever. Alright, fourth pack. We hit Summon Skull, that's kind of nice. That would have been nice about, oh, I don't know, like 20 episodes ago. Blackluster Soldier's there, that's kind of whatever. Spellbinding Circle's not too bad. Fifth pack, son of a gun. Sorcerer of Dark Magic. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Has to be summoned from your hand by tributing 2 level 6 or higher spellcasters. Yeah, no. No thank you. And last pack, we had a Dark Magician and a Brain Control, so... Oh, 2 Brain Control. Okay, so we have a playset at that. But that's pretty much about it, so... Okay, so Duelist Pack Yu-Gi-Oh! Is pretty much a bust. But that's not too bad. We'll see what we can hit, and... I guess we'll have to go for next episode, see what happens. But next time is Duelist Revolution, so... We'll catch you guys next time, and hopefully we can beat this streak. Have a good one.